Hey, I'm Kai, and today I am back with the Mooer Prime M2, and I just wanted to dial in a few tones with it, have a little bit of fun. I enjoyed checking it out, so I just want to do this video where I go through 5 different rock and metal tones on the M2. Now this video is going to be heavily focused around the sounds themselves and sort of the preset creation side of things. If you want to see my full review of the unit, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. Starting out on one of my personal favourite genres, I'm going to go for one of my earliest influences, which is pop punk. For this, I'm going to be using my Balaguer Espada synthwave in drop D, and I'm going for that sort of Fall Out Boy, Sum 41, The Offspring sort of pop punk tones. There are 2 schools of thought we could go down here. The lead tones are normally going to be JCM 800, pretty bright and cutting sort of thing, and the rhythm tones are going to be thick recto style things. I'm just going to dial in a recto tone for this video, but if you'd like to see the lead counterpart to this, let me know in the comment section down below. The first thing I need to do for this is pick a cabinet, so in the cabinet section I'm going to go for one of the Chop Tones 4x12s. I think the Friedman 4x12 should suit nicely just while we're picking an amp. I actually think I'm going to go for the Slow 100, which is based on the Soldano. It's sort of recto inspired, it's got that big thick low end sort of thing going on, but I don't particularly love the recto model in the M2 itself. Let's dial the amp in a little bit and then we'll switch over and pick a better cabinet. I think I'm liking the orange cabinet here, so let's see what we've got for a bass tone, and then maybe add in an EQ after and just see if we can polish it up a touch. Now let's add in an EQ and see if we can dial out some of that harshness maybe. It's a little bit difficult to dial in on this unit. I did go into this in my full review, but there's something up with the impulse response loader that makes things sound a little bit narrow, but we move. This is how the preset sounds as is. With that one saved, I'm now going to switch guitars and go for something a little bit more out there. This is my PRS S2, which is currently tuned down to drop C, and I think for this tone I want to go for a post-rock, post-metal thing, something pretty ambient, pretty effects heavy. You can pretty much pick any amp and cabinet for this sort of setup, but one of the big determinative factors of the genre is going to have a time-based effect before your distortion. It's also pretty important to run quite a lot of gain in a setup like this, either from a boosted amplifier or through stacked distortion pedals, which is something that I think I'm going to try for this tone. I'll start by dialing in a pretty basic high watt 103 clean tone, and then see what we can stack on top of it. I've added in 2 drive pedals up front as well as a tape delay before the drives, and then I've got just a little bit of delay and reverb after the amp just to give things a little bit more space. So let's now hear what that preset is doing now that we've got everything sort of set up. I think I actually want to try a bit of a heavier drive pedal up front. These two stacked are fairly gainy, but they're not like super blown out like I'd like to get for this tone. I've swapped the main drive out for a Rat, and as you can probably hear, there's quite a lot of hum going on, but this is part of the genre. Let's hear what this is doing. With that preset now saved, it's an awful lot quieter in here. Let's dial in something of a classic metalcore tone. We're going to stick with the PRS S2 for this one since it's in drop C and it's absolutely prime for that 5/7/8 classic 2000s metalcore thing. I want this rig to be as generic as possible just to see what the unit does. The rig of this era was always a tube screamer into a 5150 into a Mesa 4x12 cabinet with a noise gate after it. I did end up swapping the cabinet out for the Revo 4x12 by Chop Tones, just because I find the Chop Tones cabinet to be a little bit higher quality than the stock cabinets in this device. Let's hear what this is doing. This is just a super generic metalcore sort of thing. I quite like that one, though I do think I am going to polish it up just a little bit with some EQ. Here's a quick before and after with the EQ. I do think that custom EQ is actually capable of clearing up some of the weird, muddy, filtered sort of sound that you can get with the M2 at times. I may be coming back to this one for the future tones as well. The next tone is going to be a super doomy sort of thing, which I'm going to be using my Sully Baritone Elita for. Doom is a genre that an awful lot of modelers really struggle with, so I'm pretty apprehensive about trying this one, but I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. We've got low-tuned guitars going through super fuzzed-out fuzz pedals into pretty high-gain sounding amps, which is a tall order for pretty much any modeler to take care of. However, let's just see what we can do with this. got something going. I did notice that as soon as I started stacking two fairly high gain things together, we got into that buzzy chainsaw sort of territory that you get with something like an HM2, which isn't really how these things would react in the real world. Instead, you'd normally get stuff collapsing in on itself, getting super big, thick, doomy sort of tones. But hey, this is still sounding pretty good as is. Okay, so here's the updated tone with the custom EQ. I might also try adding in another drive pedal just to stack some drives on this and see if we can get more of that noisy element going on here. It's definitely actually noisy, but let's hear what the tone sounds like now. Finally, I think I want to try out some modern metal with my Balaguer growler. It's currently tuned down to drop E. We're going to go for some super low tuned, almost Thall-y type of metal here. We're going to need a pretty tight sounding amp, a nice clamped down gate, and a pretty scratchy sounding cabinet. I think the best tone I've found for Thall sort of stuff so far is the blade distortion running into the EVH 5150, then we're going into the CT Revo 4x12 cab, and then I've just got a noise gate after it. That is all 5 tones that I've got for this video, so let me know in the comment section down below which one of these was your favourite. I do think the Prime M2 is a fairly capable unit. It's sort of able to cover just a little bit of everything. I wouldn't say that these tones are world class by any means, and they certainly don't hold up to something like the Fractal. However, just for jamming, demos, that sort of thing, these would be absolutely fine for most people. As you saw, I only really spent about 5 minutes with each tone, so I'm sure with more time, more effort and more energy, you would be able to get much better results than what I got here. That is everything that I've got for this video though, so thank you ever so much for sticking around to the end. I do really appreciate it. If you would like to pick up the Mooer Prime M2 for yourself, there'll be affiliate links in both a pinned comment as well as the description box down below. Until next time though, I've been Kai.